The cake in front of me remains untouched, its pristine white frosting slowly surrendering to the heat of 21 candles, now melted down to smoldering stubs. All around me, voices burst into a cheerful rendition of Happy Birthday, but not for me. They're singing for my brother. Flames flicker as I watch, each second carving into what was supposed to be my special day. My name is Maya, and today marks my 21st birthday. But instead of celebrating my milestone, I'm standing in the shadow of my brother's latest achievement, his new internship. Make-A-Wish champion. My father's booming voice cuts through the noise, filled with pride as he rests his hand on Steve's shoulder. That shoulder is wrapped in the expensive suit they gifted him last week, while I'm still wearing the faded thrift store dress I bought with cafe tips. Oh, this is such a proud moment, my mother exclaims, eyes glossy from tears, her mascara faintly smudged. Harvard Law's top internship, we always knew you were destined for success. I tighten my grip on the fork in my hand until the metal digs into my skin. The sharpness grounds me as the room swells with congratulations. Aunt Janet dabs at her eyes, Uncle Steve already chatting about law firm connections. Across the room, my cousin Chloe meets my gaze, her disgust echoing mine. Speech, someone calls out. Steve rises, flashing that well-practiced, charming smile that's gotten him everything he's ever wanted. I notice how he positions himself perfectly in front of the Happy Birthday banner, my banner, which my mother covered this morning with rushed congratulations streamers. The words bubble out of me before I can stop them. What convenient timing for this party. A hush falls. My mother's smile freezes, that rigid performance mask she wears when trying to keep control. Maya, sweetheart, let's not what? I cut in. Let's not point out that it's my birthday. Or mention how you hijacked my celebration to praise Steve yet again. You're being dramatic, my father interrupts sharply. This is an important achievement for the family. I laugh. The sound comes out dry and bitter. You mean for Steve? It's always been about Steve. Steve at least has the grace to look slightly guilty. Come on, sis. Don't sis me, I snap, pushing back from the table. My chair scrapes loudly against the wood floor. 21 years of being second to him. Did anyone even know I got accepted into Columbia's writing program? Of course not. I told you last week, but you were all too busy organizing this party. That's enough. My father's voice turns harsh, his face reddening. You're embarrassing yourself. No, I say, voice steady. This family is the embarrassment. You're so obsessed with your golden boy, you forgot you had a daughter. My mother steps forward, trembling. If you can't see the value in what we've done. What? Are you saying I should leave? My voice is rising now. Is that what you want? Finally get rid of the family disappointment. If that's truly how you feel, my father says coldly, then yes. There's the door. Silence falls like a weight over the room. Faces look away, some stunned, some trying not to pick sides. Only Chloe and Grandma Evelyn wear expressions of understanding. Fine. I grab my purse from the rack near the door. Happy birthday to me. Maya. Steve calls after me, but I'm already gone. Outside, spring air hits my face, fragrant with blooming cherry blossoms, the same trees I used to climb as a child while Steve was off at tennis lessons. My phone buzzes. Nina. Did you do it? Did you finally stand up to them? Hands trembling, I text back, it's done. Can I crash at your place? Her reply is instant, already prepping the spare room. And Maya, I'm proud of you. I turn back for a moment, eyes lingering on the picture-perfect house with its perfect yard and perfect windows draped in curtains meant to hide the rot inside. Something shifts within me. A spark. Urge transforming into resolve. If they wanted me out, so be it. But they were about to learn what a mistake that was. It's been 3 days since I left. Nina's spare room has become my little island of peace in a storm I didn't realize I'd been drowning in. For the first time, silence isn't terrifying. It's liberating. I sit on the bed, legs crossed, staring at my phone's blank screen. The lack of messages from my family says more than words ever could. Earth to Maya, Nina says, leaning against the door with 2 mugs. Your coffee's going cold, and your interview outfit is starting to wrinkle. I smooth the blazer I'd laid out earlier. Sorry. Just thinking about. Nope, she interrupts gently, handing me a cup. That's your 3rd almost slip today. Focus on what matters now, your future. The hot coffee scalds my tongue, but I don't mind. Pain is better than numbness. I have a job interview in 2 hours, and I need to be present. Just as I'm about to get dressed, my phone lights up. Grandma Evelyn. Maya, darling, are you safe? I'm okay, Gran. I'm staying with Nina. Good girl. Listen, I've been waiting for you to finally speak up. There's something important you need to know, but not over the phone. Meet me tomorrow. Riverside Park. 10 o'clock. The usual bench. Before I can answer, I hear my mother's voice faintly in the background. Gran hurriedly adds, I have to go. Tomorrow. 10. Then the line goes dead. That sounded mysterious, Nina remarks, raising a brow. Gran's different, I reply, slipping my arms into the blazer. She's the only one who's ever really seen me. But right now, I need to land this job. I can't keep freeloading. As if I'd let you pay rent, she teases, tossing a pillow at me. Still, yeah, you need your own income if you're cutting ties for good. The Urban Grind Cafe sits at the corner of a quiet, tree-lined street. Its warm brick exterior and the scent of roasted beans feel like possibility. Inside, the manager, Lydia, flips through my application. Your resume's strong, she says, but there's a gap in your references. No family contacts. Meeting her eyes, I say calmly, I prefer to keep my work life and personal life separate. She nods understanding. Fair enough. When can you start? I leave the building with a job offer and a training schedule in hand. For a moment, I feel almost weightless until I notice someone leaning against my car. Steve. He taps the rusted side of my old Honda. Nice ride. Better than walking, I guess. He pauses. Can we talk? You're still my sister, Maya. Funny. I don't recall you ever bringing this up at the party, he says, running a hand through his meticulously styled hair, a nervous habit I remember all too well from our childhood. I didn't know they'd turn your birthday into that, Steve mutters. I tried to stop them. I swing open the car door. Don't waste your breath. You've never had to try for anything, Steve. Everything just lands in your lap while I'm scraping by. Did you know they promised to help pay for my college too? I glance at him. Strange how that money disappeared right around the time your law school fees were due. Color drains from his face. That's not. I mean. I didn't realize. Exactly. You never realize. You've never had to, I say, my voice sharp. Must be nice living in that cozy little bubble. He hesitates. They're worried, Maya. They want you to come home. I let out a dry laugh. Even to myself it sounds hollow. That house hasn't felt like home since they decided I mattered less than you. Tell them I said thanks for the birthday gift. Clarity suits me just fine. As I pull away from the curb, my phone vibrates with a message from Chloe. Found something in Uncle Richard's study. You need to see it. Can you meet tonight? In the rearview mirror, I catch one last glimpse of Steve, still standing in place, lost and unsure. Maybe for the first time in his life. Good. Let him feel even a sliver of what I've carried for years. Tomorrow, I'll meet Gran and hear whatever she's been holding back. But tonight? I need to see what Chloe's uncovered. The game board is shifting, and for the first time, I'm not just another pawn. Back at Nina's place, she's waiting for me at the door, holding out a cupcake with a grin. Victory dessert. Congrats, job starts tomorrow. I accept the cupcake but don't take a bite. Nina. I have to ask. If this turns bad, really bad, are you sure you want to be part of it? Without hesitation, she takes my hand, squeezing tight. I've watched them try to dim your light for years, Maya. It's time someone stood beside you while you shine. I squeeze back, thinking of Gran's mysterious call, Chloe's urgent message, and the truth I feel surging beneath the surface. Then let's get started. The morning air is sharp against my skin as I hurry across Riverside Park. Gran is already waiting at our usual bench, her silver hair catching the early sunlight. She clutches a thick manila envelope, her fingers trembling. You look exhausted, sweetheart, she says as I sit beside her. First week at the new job. Everything hurts, but not my pride. I try to force a smile, but the weight in her eyes freezes it. What's wrong? She presses the envelope into my hands. These are copies of documents I found in your father's study last year. Bank records, letters, transfer slips. The truth about your college fund. Inside the envelope are years of paper trails. My hands go cold as I flip through them. This isn't right, I murmur. Over $200,000? Your grandfather set up equal trust funds for you and Steve before he passed, Gran says, voice firm. Your father was meant to hold yours in trust until you turned 21. That was yesterday. The world tilts. But they told me they couldn't afford my tuition. I had to take out loans. They've been funneling your money into Steve's account, she says. It paid for his private schools, his sports training, that absurd car. I tried to intervene, but your father threatened to cut me out of the family completely if I said anything. My phone buzzes. Chloe. I ignore it, flipping another page, rage slowly building behind my ribs. Does Steve know? No. He's been manipulated too. They made him dependent, spoiled. But it's you they robbed. My phone vibrates again. Chloe again. This time I answer. Maya. Thank God. You need to get here right now. Your dad found out I was in his study. He's destroying everything. What? My voice spikes. Papers. Files. Everything. He knows someone's been digging into the accounts. He's panicking. Gran grabs my arm. Go. I'll make new copies. Just go now. I drive like my life depends on it, reaching my parents' house faster than I thought possible. Chloe meets me at the side door, pale-faced. They're in the study. Your mom's trying to calm him down, but a loud crash cuts her off. We bolt upstairs. The study door is locked. I bang on it. Open this door. I know what you did with my trust fund. Silence. Then my father speaks, his voice unnervingly calm. You don't understand, Maya. I understand enough. $200,000. My future. You stole it. We invested in Steve's future. The family's future, my mother adds, her voice strained. No, I reply, fire behind my words. Everything you did was for Steve. And now everyone's going to know. The door swings open. My father stands there amid a storm of scattered papers, a wastebasket nearby smoldering with half-burned documents. You wouldn't dare ruin this family's reputation. You already did, I say, holding up my phone. And now I've got the proof. His face contorts. You ungrateful little. My mother grips his arm as he takes a step forward. I catch the flash of panic in her eyes. Chloe slips past them, gathering what she can from the mess inside. I'm done protecting you, Uncle Richard, she says. This ends now. You're making a terrible mistake, my mother says, but her voice cracks. I laugh, sharp, bitter, like glass breaking. No. The mistake was thinking you'd get away with it. That I'd stay quiet. That you could erase me. My father slumps against the desk, suddenly looking smaller, older. You don't know the pressure we were under. Steve's future. Tell it to the lawyers, I snap, then pause at the doorway. Oh, and happy birthday to me. Looks like I finally got my inheritance. Outside, Chloe hands me a stack of documents, her fingers trembling. What now? My phone buzzes. Gran, documents safe. Your grandfather would be proud. I glance back at the house, my parents' silhouettes frozen in the upstairs window. Now I say we make them face everything they tried to erase. And we do it together. The autumn wind picks up, swirling around us, carrying away the lingering scent of scorched paper and exposed lies. For the first time since that disastrous party, I feel truly, completely alive. The annual family reunion invitation rests on Nina's coffee table like a ticking bomb. I've been staring at it for over an hour, the golden boss letters gleaming in the afternoon sun. This year's host, Steve. Perfect, Chloe's voice crackles through my phone. Everyone will be there. The whole family will have to face it. My finger traces Steve's name. He's hosting it at the lake house. That's where Granddad signed the trust documents. Gran chimes in on the group call. Richard won't expect you to know that. My hands tremble as I pull out the folder of trust papers. Either of you tell Steve anything? He came by yesterday, Gran says after a pause. He asked about you. About why you really left. Then a knock at the door. I froze. But Nina didn't. She was already heading toward the front door. Steve stood there on the threshold, looking unsure of himself in a way I'd never seen before. Can we talk? He asked quietly, casting a glance at my phone. Alone. I ended the call and gave Nina a nod. She slipped silently into her room, leaving us alone. Steve sat down opposite me, his gaze falling onto the stack of documents splayed across the coffee table. I found something in Dad's study, he began in a low voice. Stuff about my car, the schools I went to, and your missing college fund. I raised an eyebrow. How much do you know? Enough to feel sick, he replied, raking a hand through his hair, that old nervous habit of his. Maya, I swear I didn't know. I thought they were just better off than they let on. They were, I snapped, because they had my money. I'll pay it back. All of it. I've already spoken to the bank. This isn't about money anymore, I interrupted, meeting his eyes. It's about being lied to for years. It's about them making you the golden child and turning me into a ghost. About burning documents the second they knew I was close. He picked up the reunion invitation and held it for a moment before looking back at me. That's why I'm hosting it, he said. I want you there, Maya. I need your help to fix this. I let out a dry laugh, but it caught in my throat. You think you can just sign a check and make this all disappear? No, he said, more firmly now. But I can help expose them. I've been digging, and it's not just your money. Father's been shifting funds from other accounts too. Aunt Janet's kids, Uncle Steve's business loans, it's worse than we thought. My stomach turned. How far does it go? Far enough to ruin him. Both of them, he answered, pulling out his phone and showing me a series of screenshots. The party at the lake house isn't just a reunion. He's planning to announce his retirement and hand over everything to me. The company, his reputation, the secrets. I searched his face for signs of deception but saw only guilt and something else, fear. Why are you showing me this? Because you're my sister. Because I was blind for too long. Because I need you to help me stop them before anyone else gets hurt. I looked down at the invitation again. It no longer felt like a piece of cardstock, it felt like a detonator. Everyone would be there. Everyone they had ever cheated or silenced. Steve's hands balled into fists. Help me end this, Maya. Not just for you. For all of us. I stood and walked to the window. The street below teemed with people heading home to their unremarkable lives, their safe families. If we're doing this, I said at last, we do it my way. No warnings. No time for them to cover anything up. Agreed, he said, standing too. But there's something else. About Gran. I stiffened. What about her? She didn't just stumble upon those documents last year, he said, hesitating. She's been keeping tabs on them for decades. She has proof. It didn't start with us. It started long before, with a different inheritance. One grandfather never meant father to touch. The puzzle pieces finally clicked into place. Gran's odd questions. Her quiet support. The way she always encouraged me to be self-reliant. The reunion's in 2 weeks, Steve added, stepping toward the door. Whatever you choose, I'm done being their puppet. After he left, Nina emerged from her room. Well, I stared at the invitation, its weight suddenly unbearable. Call Chloe. Call Gran. We have to move sooner. You sure about trusting Steve? I thought about his trembling hands, the panic in his voice, the way his jaw clenched when he said he was blind. No. But I'm sure of this is no longer about revenge. The sunlight caught the corner of the invitation. It shimmered like a blade. The lake house came into view as I steered my car up the winding road. Its large windows glowed orange in the sunset, like warning lights flashing through glass. 3 days until the reunion, and my hands wouldn't stop trembling. Steve's car was already in the driveway. Gran's familiar silver Mercedes sat beside it. Inside, I found them both in the study, surrounded by papers and glowing laptop screens. Gran looked up first, her expression grim. It's worse than we imagined, darling, she said softly. Steve rotated his laptop toward me. He's been siphoning funds through dummy corporations for years. Not just family money. Corporate accounts. Clients. Everything. The screen was a tangled web of transfers and shell companies, each one tied to familiar names: Aunt Janet's children's college fund, Uncle Steve's business losses, even Cousin Noah's unpaid medical care. He's built everything on stolen lives, Gran said. Your grandfather always suspected but could never prove it. My phone buzzed. Chloe, Uncle Richard just left. He's suspicious. Be careful. He's already shifting assets overseas, Steve said, pacing. Once it's gone forever. And with it, I added, goes the evidence. Gran reached for a pile of old letters. There's more. Your mother, she's not just a bystander. She orchestrated most of it. The books? The forged records. All of it, her handwriting. I staggered, gripping the back of a chair. My breath caught in my throat. Every memory of her brushing me aside now had sharper meaning. She wasn't protecting Steve, I said. She was protecting everything they built on this lie. There's still more, Steve said, his tone shifting. Look at this. He handed me a yellow document clipped to another, my birth certificate and a policy. A life insurance policy, dated the day I was born. Taken out by my mother. $5 million, Gran whispered. Payable only if you died before turning 21. It hit me like ice water. That's why they threw that party. It wasn't for Steve, it was to celebrate that I didn't die. That they wouldn't have to cash it in. Before I could say another word, the study door slammed open. My mother stood there, fury barely concealed beneath her perfect makeup. What do you think you're doing? She snapped. Vanessa, Gran began, but she was cut off. You've poisoned them with your lies, my mother sneered. About their father. About me. The only lies here are yours, I said, holding up the policy. Were you disappointed when I didn't die, Mother? A flicker of something crossed her face. Not guilt, annoyance. You have no idea what it takes to build a legacy, she spat. To protect what we've worked for. By gambling on your daughter's death? Steve said, voice barely above a whisper. By robbing our family? We did it for you, Steve, she said, reaching for him. To secure your future. We can still fix this. Help me gather these documents. Every word you say, I interrupted, makes it clearer what you are. And what is that exactly? She hissed. A monster, I replied. One who saw her children as assets. Not people. She laughed. A cold, splintering laugh. Oh, darling, she whispered. You don't even know what real monsters look like. Then she pulled out her phone. You were ready to let your own daughter die, I said quietly, just to keep your secrets. The room went still. Even the police officers who had just entered paused, their hands hovering near their weapons. We did it all, my father began, but stopped when Gran stepped into the room, carrying a worn leather briefcase. Is that what you told yourself, Richard? She asked sharply. When you forged your father's signature on those trust documents? She opened the case and began laying out aged papers on the desk. Or when you and Vanessa planned my husband's accident after he threatened to expose you? My mother's composure cracked. You can't prove any of that. Actually, Steve said, his voice hard and cold, she can. Starting with the original autopsy report. The one that showed poison. The one you buried. Father lunged for the briefcase, but the officers were faster. As they restrained him and read him his rights, he locked eyes with me. You ungrateful child, he spat. We gave you everything. My voice was unshaken now. You didn't give me anything. You took my education, my inheritance, my childhood. You even tried to take my life. We were protecting the family's legacy, my mother shrieked as an officer moved toward her. Were you? I asked, gesturing to the devastated relatives around us. Look around. Look at the lives you ruined, Aunt Janet's kids who never made it to college, Noah's medical care, Uncle Steve's business. You sacrificed them all to make Steve your perfect heir. I never wanted that, Steve said, stepping forward. Any of it. Mother's face contorted in disgust. Then you're as weak as she is. Everything we did wasted. Sacrifices. I laughed. This time it didn't sound like glass breaking, it sounded like shackles snapping. You didn't sacrifice anything. You stole. You lied. You killed. And all for what? A sense of control? A legacy built on ashes. You don't understand what it takes to build something lasting. Father echoed, his voice thin, pathetic. I understand better than you ever did, I said. Then I played the recording of their threats. You're not parents. You're not even people anymore. You're empty husks who destroyed your own children just to keep a grip on power. As the officers led them out, Mother turned back, seething. This isn't over. Families like ours don't air dirty laundry. No one will believe you. Everyone already believes, Chloe said, pointing to the windows. Outside, news vans were pulling up. Reporters swarmed the lawn. The entire story's going live, she added. Every theft. Every threat. Every lie. Father's body sagged with resignation. Mother, defiant until the end, struggled against the officers. You've ruined us. No, Mother, I said calmly. You did that to yourselves. I just turned on the light. The room erupted into murmurs and tears. Aunt Janet embraced me tightly, whispering that her children could finally go to college. Uncle Steve, voice cracking, spoke to a detective about reclaiming his losses. Noah's mother thanked me between sobs. Steve touched my arm. You okay? I scanned the aftermath of the storm we had unleashed. I don't know, I whispered. Are any of us? We will be, Gran said, appearing at my side. Her eyes gleamed, full of fierce pride. Your grandfather would be proud, sweetheart. You've done what he couldn't. You exposed the truth. I repeated the word softly, tasting it like something new. Truth. It no longer tasted of revenge, it tasted like justice. What now? I asked. Chloe stepped forward, looping her arm through mine. Now we rebuild. From the ground up. With honesty. Through the window, I watched my parents being placed in separate police cars. Behind them, their carefully crafted empire collapsed. But in the ruins, I saw something unexpected: hope. Not just for me, but for everyone they'd hurt. The lake house stood still, its secrets finally laid bare. And in that brutal honesty, I found something I had never known before. Freedom. The steps of the courthouse felt colder than they should in the spring. I stood with Steve, watching as our parents were escorted in cuffs through the front doors, their designer clothes traded for prison orange. Mother never looked back. Father did, just once. And in that single glance, I saw something I'd never seen before. Understanding. The court approved the asset seizure, Steve said beside me. Noah's bills. Janet's kids' tuition. Steve's recovery. They're all getting what they lost. Almost everything, I murmured, reaching into my pocket. Inside the envelope Gran had given me were photographs, her and grandfather at the lake house, long before the rot set in. Their smiles were untouched by greed. Genuine. Real. She was tracking their scheme before we were even born, I said, quietly moving what she could into separate trusts for both of us. She protected us, Steve said, in her own way. And you protected everyone else, I added, handing him the letter. Its paper was yellowed, the ink faded but legible. Grandfather had written it the day before he died. In it, he detailed his suspicions, how he planned to stop them. They killed him for this, Steve whispered, trembling. We only knew what they wanted us to know, I said. But Gran waited. She waited until we were ready to hear it. A voice rang out behind me. Maya. I turned to see Nina running up the courthouse stairs, waving a newspaper. You need to see this. The front page read, Family Empire Falls. Whistleblower daughter exposes decades of fraud. Beneath it, Evelyn Chen's secret legacy. The grandmother who protected a generation. There's more, Chloe added, appearing with her laptop. People are coming forward. It wasn't just our family. They hurt others too. But they can't anymore. This victory feels different than I thought it would, I admitted. Less triumphant. More complete. Gran joined us, her silver hair catching the light like spun glass. Your grandfather used to say legacies aren't built on money or power. They're built on truth. On love. I thought this was about revenge, I said quietly. Making them pay for what they did to me. But it was never just about me, was it? No, darling. Gran took my hand. It was about breaking the cycle. Choosing the legacy you leave behind. Steve stared at the courthouse behind us, still trying to make sense of everything. What do we do now? With the company, the properties, everything they built. We rebuild, I answered. And I meant it. But not their way. Not with lies. With truth. With each other. Together, Chloe echoed, linking her arm with mine. The whole family, I added, the real family. Nina wrapped me in a hug. Told you you'd find your strength. And as I stood there, surrounded by my brother, who chose integrity over legacy, my cousin, who never hesitated, my grandmother, who fought a quiet war for US, and my friend, who stayed loyal through it all, I realized something. I didn't find my strength, I murmur softly. It was always here with the family I chose. The family that chose me back. A uniformed officer approaches, holding out the final document I need to sign, my closing statement for the case. As I reach for the pen, I notice something small but monumental. My hand no longer trembles. Maya, Steve says suddenly, tapping the window. I follow his gaze. In the distance, through the glass of the courthouse, I spot the lake house. Its windows, once glaring warnings, now reflect nothing but calm skies and fresh light. Then I notice something else. Nestled behind a row of trees, nearly hidden, stands a modest structure I hadn't seen before. Your grandfather's old study, Gran explains. That's where he kept the real records. Steve and I exchange a look. There's something inside, she adds. Something you both need to see. I raise an eyebrow. More secrets. Her smile is tinged with sorrow, but brighter than before. No, sweetheart. No more secrets. Just the truth. And maybe, a different kind of legacy. One worth passing on. A spring breeze sweeps through as we descend the courthouse steps. Behind us lies justice, final, deserved. But ahead? Something else entirely. Not an ending, but a beginning dressed as change. I glance once more at the headline in Nina's newspaper, then release it. The wind catches it easily and lifts it into the sky. Some stories don't need to be printed in ink. They live in our decisions, in the truths we're brave enough to face, and in the love we choose to give, especially when it's not the easy choice.